Hey guys, and welcome back to Your One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first grader and a third grader. And in my most recent video, I shared with you guys how our first term went in our homeschool. So a term for us is 12 weeks if you're new here. We do 3 12-week terms in our whole entire school year, then last 36 weeks. So that means we are at present in our first week of term 2. Now, we are changing up things a little bit this term in the sake of simplifying our lives in our homeschool. If you did watch my update in my last video, if you didn't, I'll link it down below for you. Definitely go check that out. That'll give you a little bit more context to this video. But if you did watch that, you know one of the big overarching themes of term 1 was that we were busy. So busy, you guys. And I've had some time between filming that recent video and this one to kind of think more on that. And in the last video, I talk about how it was our schedule. It was our extracurricular things we were saying yes to. It was our homeschool groups. It was our play dates. And the thing was, yes, did we do a lot of that? Of course, because it's the fall. There's so much going on. There's so much goodness. We don't want to miss out on it. But over the last week, I have really reflected on what else was causing us to be busy, so much so that I felt like I couldn't catch my breath and I couldn't enjoy myself. And it was also our actual homeschool. Now, this was not just me feeling it. I had been feeling it actually for a while about our homeschool lineup, but at the end of the day, it seemed like it was going well. It seemed like it was working, so I wasn't gonna rock the boat. I was gonna persevere. However, recently, my girls expressed to me without any cajoling from me, that they too felt like we were constantly rushed, that we were constantly moving from one thing to the next. We weren't being able to enjoy ourselves in our homeschool as much, and they missed how we did things last year and the year before. And that broke my heart a little bit, because it's one thing for me to feel that, as long as my kids are enjoying their homeschool and they're getting a lot out of it, that's great. But the fact that they too were feeling that was like, oh, that was very validating, but also in a very sad way. So with that, we are gonna do a few things a little bit differently this term. Some of it is dropping some things. Some of it is adding in some stuff, which I know seems contradictory, but some of it's like more swapping in and out things and just changing how we are doing stuff. So let's get into it. I don't want to ramble any further and make this intro too long. I'm going to start off talking about what we are doing differently, or changing up with my first grader first. Then I'll go on to my third grader, and then I'll talk about how we are changing things up for our group subjects. And by the way, I want to make it clear, it's not just changing up things. It's just what new things are we doing right this term, but really keeping in mind simplification and reinvigorating the joy and awe that comes with learning. Also, I just want to preface, if you've been hearing like a clicking sound down below me, that is my dogs. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that they are constant stars of my videos, and they constantly bulldoze and make cameo appearances to include the noises of them chewing on their toys. I try to get them out of the room, but then if I do, I push them out of the office, they just push their way back in. So I'm better off just trying not to fight it and let them be. So hopefully you can't hear the chewing, but if you can, hopefully it's not too irritating, and I apologize. Okay, so let's kick off this video with my first grader, Charlotte. She is a very young first grader. She just recently turned 6 years old at the end of August, just for context around the materials we are using. Now, this first thing I'm going to talk about is not something that we are doing due to simplification. It's just something new that we are going to be doing in term 2. And that is, she has moved on to Math with Confidence grade 2. It is going really well for her. I'm not going to go into it too much in depth here, because I think in a few, probably like I would say maybe another month or two, I'm going to give it. I'm going to do a whole video on Math with Confidence grade 2. I think I did one on first grade Math with Confidence over a year ago. I'll link that down below if I have it. I'm going to do one on this just as well, because I am really happy with this and I love how it is set up. And so if you are interested in Math with Confidence, stay tuned for that so you can check out that review. Next, let's talk about language arts for my first grader. So we have been doing the McGuffey primer with a companion notebook that I created that's in my Etsy shop. I'll link that down below for you guys if you want to check that out. I will say, and this is actually with both of my girls, I have kind of seen this starting to become a little bit more monotonous and kind of their interest waning in it. And that's fine because it's still working. It's easy to implement. So I just was kind of pushing through the last couple weeks. Well, this past week, they both expressed, they're like, can we do something different? Like, it just, we're kind of bored with it. We're ready for something new. And that's the thing I do love about the McGuffey readers. I know I just said it's boring, but it's the fact that you can easily step in and step out of these books at any given moment. So we are planning to take a brief pause on this for the month of November, and I'll tell you what we're going to do instead. But that's the great thing, is that we can step away from this and then we can easily bring it back at any time to help supplement what we're doing for language arts, or use it as our full language arts program. So I've heard them, I get it, and frankly, I'm kind of ready for a little bit of a change right now. So I'm totally on board with this change. I'm actually really excited about what we're bringing in instead, though, because that's also what's making it so exciting to make the change. What we are doing is we are bringing in, for my first grader, Blossom and Root Language Arts Level 1. We actually used the entire Level 1 program from Blossom and Root with my oldest daughter, our first year of homeschool, and it was frankly our favorite. We loved it. That's actually been, I think, in my opinion, our best homeschool year that we've had yet. And so I'm kind of excited to bring this back in. We aren't going to start it from the beginning. We are actually going to jump in at week 14, which is the week we are jumping into this coming week. So I'm filming on a weekend, Monday. We are going to start this, and we're going to start week 14 because that's the week we are going to be in. And then we're just going to take it from there. I am only planning to do this for November. So just doing those first 4 weeks. So 14, 15, 16, 17. But I will be honest, I am 100% open to continuing this for the rest of the year if it goes well with my daughter. If not, hopefully that November time with this is enough to kind of reinvigorate her interest and excitement about language arts, and then we can pop back into the McGuffey reader after that. But if not, I will not hate continuing forward with this because I do love this program. And my oldest daughter got so excited when she saw that we were going to do this with my youngest. And she goes, Sissy, come see all the books that I did that year. And she was pulling them out, and she got so excited about it with my youngest sister. Or with her younger sister. So you can tell that if she's pulling out books and reminiscing about it, it was a good year. So I'm very excited about bringing this back in. This will incorporate narration, copy work, literature, of course. They do journal prompts. There are things called mini poems, which we were already doing, so we'll just continue doing that, of course, because the girls love the mini poems from the Blossom and Root program. There's also a word list that we will review every week, and we can use those for reading, or in our situation, since my first grader is already past that reading ability for this level, I'm gonna have her use them for spelling instead, making it our own, right? They also have literature projects, which are really hands-on, and my daughters have been asking me for more hands-on arts and crafts. They have a little bit of a Waldorfiness to them when it comes to wanting to do crafts. And so I'm gonna lean into that. I'm gonna try and do more crafts with them, even though I don't mind crafts. I should probably clarify here. Y'all, I don't mind a craft. I actually really like drawing and painting myself. It's more the crafts that require me to set up a ton of stuff, or it's uber messy. Like, I hate glitter, y'all. Glitter is the bane of my existence. But if it brings joy to my children and they're gonna learn more from it, I'm happy to bring it in, okay? I'm gonna make it work. We're gonna do it. So both girls are really excited about the fact that my youngest is gonna be doing level 1 starting next week. Now, we are still going to do some of the phonics that we've been doing in support of this program. So like, we're gonna do like 3 minutes worth of drilling flashcards of phonograms. My youngest seems to do really well with that. We're still gonna run through the Good and the Beautiful Booster B card, and she'll do a page a day from her Explode the Code, but that's all very easy. Like, this all takes maybe 10 minutes together, this stuff, and then Explode the Code she does independently on her own, and that takes her maybe like 2 minutes per page, and sometimes she'll do more than one page on her own because she gets excited about it and likes to do it. So the other thing that this program recommends is doing, having your child do about 10 minutes of independent reading each day, which is absolutely perfect because we are already doing that with our readers from Bookshark. Now, if you watched my last video, you will know that we did finish up the first grade readers in term 1. She just started devouring them and we just went with it. So she has already started now. This is the other thing we're adding in term 2 is the Bookshark Language Arts readers for level 2. So I'm going to share with you what those are. Okay, so here's the stack, y'all. It's pretty big. I'm not sure if she's going to finish these this year. I would probably expect her not to, because it's starting to become like a little bit more challenging. It's not as easy for her anymore, but she's still doing well with the first reader, which is Owl at Home. And so she's about 2/3 of the way through this. And then we'll just keep going through the stack. So the next one is Frog and Toad Are Friends. Mouse Tales. Sorry for the glare, guys. I'm trying to angle them so it's not too annoying. Greg's Microscope. Hill of Fire. Frog and Toad All Year. Daniel's Duck. Amelia Bedelia, one of my personal favorites. Nate the Great, which I have heard so many good things about this book, and I think it's a whole series, so if she likes it, we might get the rest of them. Frog and Toad Together. Pompeii Buried Alive. So we've got some historical ones in here. The Big Balloon Race. The Fire Cat. Wagon Wheels, again, another historical one. Clara and the Book Wagon. The Long Way to a New Land, which I think is about immigration. So that's another one that's more historical, as is The Long Way Westward. It's about westward expansion. Prairie School. The Titanic Lost and Found. I love the Titanic, y'all. I'm so excited to read that one. Riding the Pony Express. The Sword in the Tree. And then this is actually 2 books in one. It's Third Grade Detectives, the first book. And then if you flip it, because they do it upside down, is Third Grade Detectives book 2. It's The Puzzle of the Pretty Pink Handkerchief. The thing I love about these books is that could I have just gotten readers from a library? Sure, yes, and I have done that before, and it's not gone well because I'm not sure which level she is at, and this is a systematic stack of books that is going to go from easy to a little bit more challenging to harder, and it should theoretically go with her improvement of reading skills, and it's going to make her better at reading, if that makes sense. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and get these readers. I just think it makes so much more sense. It takes a lot off my plate and simplifies my life. Again, trying to simplify things. And she has loved the first grade readers, so I anticipate she will love the second grade readers. Owl at Home is already a huge hit for her. She thinks it's hilarious, and I kind of do too. The illustrations are funny. But yeah, so that's what we've got going on for language arts for term 2. We've got Blossom and Root. We've got our amalgamation of phonics, things that we're doing randomly, but they're very simple and quick. And then we've got our readers. And of course she's doing handwriting, but that's not new to term 2. So I'm really excited about this term and this language arts lineup that we have going on. And I think it's gonna simplify things, but also I think it is going to bring awe and wonder into our life with language arts. Last thing I was going to say is for term 2, for my youngest daughter, she is doing The Good and the Beautiful, Little Hearts and Hands. She is doing the Field and Flowers unit right now. And based on our projections, she should finish that halfway through term 2. So what will we bring in after that? We are going to bring in the Sparks and Stars, Little Hearts and Hands unit from The Good and Beautiful. So this will be new to us once we're done with Field and Flowers. It also comes with the Big Book of Science Stories. I've got a whole flip through on the Little Hearts and Hands units. If you want to go check that out, I'll link it down below for you. But we're excited to get into this. It's going to be more like STEM science, so matter, states of matter, molecules. We'll be learning about a little bit about space, so we can bring out our telescope. It'll be colder, so the skies will be clearer when we go through this. So we're pretty pumped about getting into that new unit. Okay, moving on to my 3rd grader, Emery. And her individual subjects and the changes that we're making. Just for context, Emery is 8 years old. She turned 8 in July, so she is on the younger end of her grade. So we have been doing the McGuffey second reader with her companion notebook that I created. So again, that's linked down in my Etsy shop. If you guys are doing the McGuffey or any reader and you want to check that out, you can click down there. But same thing we're doing with my youngest. My oldest kind of mentioned she wouldn't mind doing something a little different for the next month. She's kind of burned out on the McGuffey reader. And again, I'm totally cool with that because you know what? doing the same thing over and over again can become monotonous, and sometimes to re-inspire and reinvigorate interest and awe, we got to try something different. So, and again, we can always bring this back. It's so easy to do, and that's what I love about the McGuffey readers. So, staying in line with what we're doing with my first grader, we are going to do Blossom and Root Language Arts Level 3. I'm actually really pumped about this. So unlike my youngest daughter, we are going to start at week 1 with this, because the first 4 weeks, which would bring us through November, it is centered around Alice in Wonderland. And I have this beautiful edition. My sister-in-law actually got it for my girls. It is illustrated, and it's got these, I wish I could find, hold on, let me find a page that shows the illustrations. Like, they're so sweet. They're these little handwritten, and it's done by Mabel Lucy Atwell. And I think she did these, she lived in hold on, let me see if I can find the information. So she was born in 1879. They actually have a little intro about her and everything, about the author, or excuse me, the illustrator. And they're just like iconic, but it is not abridged. This is an unabridged version, even though it's got illustrations and it looks like this. So we're gonna be using this. And we're just gonna do the first 4 weeks as if it's a unit, right? And again, same thing with my youngest daughter. If it goes well, sorry, my husband's playing with my daughters. If it goes well, I have no qualms continuing this for the rest of the year. Now, we are starting 14 weeks in, so if we do that, I have a plan of how we're gonna take some books out for various reasons. We have to basically remove 3 to 4 books in order to fit the rest of the program in this year. And I don't want to continue it too long into the summer and then into next year if we do decide to continue this after November. So I've got a whole plan. If we do decide to continue this after November, I'll do a whole video on it. I'll even do a review and a flip through. Also, if you guys want a video review of Level 1 Language Arts from Blossom and Root, let me know. I did a whole review on the entire Level 1 like grouping, like it was language arts, science, nature, art, everything. Like I did the whole bundle, but I didn't do a specific video only on the language arts, and I'm more than happy to do that because we really enjoyed that our first year of homeschooling with my oldest daughter. So let me know if you want a video on that, as well as I'll do a video on this after the 4th week and let you guys know what we thought and everything, as well as if we continue to do it, what my plan is, how I've edited it to fit it in for the rest of the school year. So basically for November and theoretically for the rest of the year, we'll see our language arts for my 3rd grader is going to just be Blossom and Root Language Arts Level 3, which again is similar to my youngest. It is narration, copy work, there's dictation, journal prompts. There are word lists that you're working with, phonics and spelling with. Vocabulary, I think, is actually brought in at this level. And they also have a lot of hands-on art projects, creative extensions, things that my youngest daughter has told me, my oldest daughter has told me she has been craving. At the end of our first term, I asked her if there's anything she could change, what would it be? She said, I wish we did more hands-on projects and art, and I wish we read more books. And I was like, we're a literature-based, like Charlotte Mason-esque family. There's no way we could read more books, but I hear you on the hands-on projects. So I told her, I was like, I will find a way to bring in more hands-on projects. Blossom and Root came to mind, and I was like, this actually might be what she is missing. So we're gonna bring that in, see how that goes. I'll obviously keep you guys posted in December. If you see me posting a video about what we're doing for language arts moving forward, you know that it went really well in November, and we're gonna continue it the rest of the year. If not, we are gonna bring back the McGuffey reader along with the companion notebook, and it'll be amazing. Also, forgot to mention, we will continue with our Book Shark Language Arts Level 3 readers. Those are going swimmingly, and then she's doing handwriting with The Good and the Beautiful, but that's pretty simple. We're doing Blossom and Root Level 3 handwriting, and she's got readers per Blossom and Root. It says at this age they should be doing about 20 to 30 minutes of independent reading, so that fits the bill, and it's all tied up in one neat bow, easy for me to use, easy and flexible enough that I can pick and choose what I want to do and what works well for our schedule. That's what I like about Blossom and Root. She gives you options, but you don't have to do like all of it. You can figure out what you want to do that suits your schedule, and that's how I can simplify things for us. Continuing on with changes or new things we're doing in term 2 for my oldest daughter. So she is at present working her way through Seabird for a little bit of extra geography work. And she will finish this up here in the next few weeks. So before I think honestly, halfway through term 2, we will then be moving on to Tree in the Trail, another hauling sea hauling book. We really enjoyed Paddle to the Sea last year, and now we are going to be able to do these 2 this year. She's been enjoying Seabird. It's been a little bit of a tougher read though, I will be honest. It's a lot of nautical terms because you're following along on a boat across the world. But she's also learned a lot from it. So it has been a little bit more challenging, but she's really enjoyed it. And the illustrations are beautiful. So this one I'm excited for. This is more about the Southwest. There's a tree that is in literally a trail. And it's just over time what that tree has seen. You know, obviously a tree doesn't see, but you know what I'm saying. Experienced through history. So there's a little bit of geography. There's a little bit of history mixed in this one. So I think this is going to be another good one. Last update for my 3rd grader. And this is going to be a bit of a sad one, guys. So we, like I said, have been really rushed this term, and it's not been a good feeling. We feel like we haven't had time and opportunity to go down rabbit trails when we found something interesting because we've got to move on to the next thing. We are consistently not finishing before lunch, which I know isn't a requirement, but it's like we are doing at least another hour and a half worth of work after lunch. And I don't want to be going that far into the afternoon, not at 1st and 3rd grade. It should not be this much right now. And that's on me, right? I overscheduled us because there's just so much goodness in the homeschooling curriculum world. You know, there's no way around it. So with that being said, I sat down with the girls, and this was more geared towards my oldest daughter, Emery. And I said, we have too much on our plates. And the biggest time commitments that we are doing right now are American Girl history and Ambleside online history readings from year 2 for my oldest. And so I basically left it up to Emery because she's the one that's doing both these. I said, we need to drop one of these histories. We can only do one. And she looked me dead in the eye and started to cry and said, if you drop American Girl history, I'll be so upset. I was like, okay, well, that answers that for me. I was like, don't worry, we won't drop American Girl history. I mean, she really, she loves it, y'all. So there was no way that was going anywhere. But sadly, that means that we have to drop Ambleside Online Year 2 history readings, which include Our Island Story. And she really likes this one too. This is actually probably her favorite history book from Ambleside Online. A Child's History of the World, This Country of Ours. And those are like the spines. Right now we are working our way through The Little Duke for our more literature read for history. And then we were planning on adding in Joan of Arc once this was done and reading through that. We're not going to do that either. And right now, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, my head is kind of up in the air when it comes to if I'm going to continue Ambleside Online, trying to really think about what does that look like for us long term. I want our homeschool to be happy and joyful and not stressful and running from one thing to the other. And I know the feast is there for a reason. It's to create awe and wonder, science of relations, all that stuff. And I get it on paper. When I read about it, I'm like, that makes so much sense. But right now in our homeschool, it's not that way. And it feels like it's a checklist that we have to go down. It feels rushed. It feels like chaotic. And it feels like the awe and wonder is slipping through my fingers sometimes. So I'm afraid that that's going to get even worse if I do Ambleside Online next year full-fledged with 2 different years, Ambleside Online Year 1 and Ambleside Online Year 3. I'm not saying I'm not doing it. I'm just saying right now it is up in the air in my head. I want to see how the next couple of months go before I commit to that being what our plan is. I love the books. I think they're beautifully written. I love the way the program is built, but there's just some things where it's just not jiving in our home right now. And I got to figure out, is that just this year, or is that going to continue to be a problem if we do it next year? And I mean next year, like we would do it fully, and that would be even more. So that makes me think it might not work for us. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but sadly we are going to have to stop Ambleside Online Year 2 right now. Now, if we do decide to continue with Ambleside Online next year, I have no problems picking up with Year 3 with my oldest yes, we'll miss some of the history from here, but you know what? That's the beauty of Ambleside Online. You just drop in and you go, and it'll all come together in the end. But that's kind of where we are with that. So that's it for my third grader. Let's get into group subjects. Okay, I want to start this section off with something super fun that we're doing, and I cannot wait, you guys. This is probably my favorite part of homeschooling. I know that sounds silly, but it is. So last year we did, during December, we did December schooling. And what does that mean? That means that we stop all of our school except for language arts and math. We still do those. And then what we do is we drop everything else and we bring in a literature unit. And last year we did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone from Forest Rain Wanderer. And this year we are going to be doing the second Harry Potter book, Chamber of Secrets from Forest Rain Wanderer. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this because I am going to do a video here in the next week or two on this program, what it entails. There is so much amazingness in here. It's also a beautiful curriculum. And there's actually, no, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I think we're going to have to stop language arts as well. Not their independent reading, but like their actual language arts, because there is actually a ton of language arts in here. So we'll basically drop everything except for math, their independent reading, and then this unit, because there is so much in here and it is so full and rich. It's going to be so much fun. So this is what we're going to be doing for December schooling, which is in term 2. Next, let's talk about history. So as I said, we are really loving American Girl history, so I wanted to talk about the new units that we will be doing in term 2. So if you watched my last video, our term 1 update, you know that we already started Josephina's unit, which is in the mid-1800s, talking about growing up in New Mexico, and that's been a really good unit thus far. We've completed 2 weeks. We've only got 2 more weeks of that unit left. Once we are done with Josephina's unit, we will be moving on to Kirsten, which is during 1854, growing up in pioneer America. What was that like? What was happening at that time in America? And then once Kirsten is done, we will move on to Addie's unit, 1864, growing up during the Civil War, and everything that entails. This is going to be a heavier unit. Slavery is definitely a bigger focus here. My girls and I have discussed slavery already, and so they are prepared. But if I want to be as truthful with them as I can without going too heavy and scaring them. So I'm just going to kind of ease them in and see how that goes. Thus far, these units from Little School of Smith have done a fantastic job of touching upon really tough subjects, because, you know, history is not pretty, it is not nice. So she's done a fantastic job of it so far. So I imagine that this is going to go well also. And if we stay on schedule, that should be it. And then we'll finish up the rest of the units in term 3 to complete our full year intro to U.S. history with American Girl. All right, y'all, I have one more update for you. If you did watch my last video, then you already know what I'm about to say, but you don't know what we're replacing it with. So this is still an update, even if you saw my last video. So we are sadly going to drop right now Blossom and Root Level 0's art. So this art is a little different than the one we did for level 1. Level 1, when our first homeschool year we did, that was all about picture study, but also hands-on art, and also kind of understanding math within art. This level is a little different. This is their kindergarten level, and it includes not only an artist, a painter, but it also includes, an artist, a composer, and then also an art project. And the way they approach it is that you are studying a new artist and a new composer every 4 weeks. That was really tough for us in term 1. It was going too fast for my girls. On top of that, what was one of the initial pros of this program to me, the fact that they have a diversity of mediums being used. It's not just watercolors. It was people doing sculptures. It was doing fabric motifs. It was pottery. It was chain sculptures. I mean, it was really cool. There's a lot of great artists in here. So I actually think this is a great program. It just wasn't working the way I was implementing it with my kids. But long story short, my kids at this age are having a hard time connecting with the material because it's not the actual, we're not going to a museum and seeing the sculpture in 3D or the fabric motif hanging on the wall. They're seeing a picture of it, and I think they're having a hard time connecting with it. So what I recognize is that we need to slow down, and frankly, we need to go back to like paintings artist 2 paint. It's just easier for them at this point in this age. So I'm not tossing this out. I'm hanging on to this because in future years, what I might do is finish up the artist that we didn't do, because there's still like 2/3 of this program left that we didn't complete. So I might bring this back in at a later date in a different year when they're a little older and they can connect with the material a little better. And again, I've known so many families that had a great experience with that in their kindergarten level year. It's just my kids weren't connecting with it, and my kids are different, I guess. So what are we going to be doing instead? So one, this will also simplify things a lot for us. I'm going to go back to the Ambleside Online artist and composer schedule for this school year 2025 to 2026. I created this on Canva. I've had people ask me about this when I've shared this before, if I would be willing to sell it on my Etsy shop. I would accept that the art, this whole I don't know how to explain it, the motif, I don't know what you would call it, the print, I don't know. It's actually from a purchased editable planner that I purchased off Etsy from another wonderful artist. And I cannot resell her work. Even though I created this into my own thing, I cannot resell that because it's not mine to sell. I can talk to her about it and figure out what we could do to maybe make it available to y'all, but I also don't know if I could sell this because Ambleside Online is really big about copyright with their stuff. So I don't know if I could do that. So I'm sorry if you want it. But let me see what I can figure it out. I don't know. Maybe I can figure out something. But so this is a little guide that I've created that has not only our artists in here, it has our composers, it also has our folk song lyrics in here. This is all term 1. So let's get to term 2. What are we going to be doing? So for term 2, we are going to be studying Jean Fragonard, which we already started. And I actually went ahead and pulled the free prints off of the Ambleside Online website, and I printed them off myself on my printer because I've got an Eco Tank now. Last year, I went ahead and had them professionally printed, but frankly, this was so much easier, and they still turned out really, really nicely. But that's the thing. I like having the physical painting, and then I hang it up, and it's up for 2 weeks. Whereas with the way I was doing Blossom and Root, I was just showing it to them for that brief moment, and then it was gone. It was on a computer screen. It was different in that respect. So I think for them, art has to be very literal in front of them, if that makes sense. And then we're also going to be studying composer Wolfgang Mozart, and that's it. We are going to be doing this for 12 weeks. We are going to study these 2 guys for 12 weeks. That's why they're going to connect so well with the material. My daughters did really well with this whole process that we do last year, so I'm hoping it works really well this year. I won't go into term 3. You can look at that actually if you want to on Ambleside Online, but since we're only talking about term 2, it seems to make sense to only talk about term 2. So we're going to study those 2 composers and our composer and artist. Each of them are going to have 6 pieces that we're going to study. Again, you can pull this all off the Ambleside Online website. I'll link that down below for you guys if you want to go check out which pieces we're going to be studying. But this is going to, I think, simplify things, but also be a little bit more effective with just the way my kids learn. Again, love Blossom and Root. I actually think there's tons of wonderful material in here, but I think I'm going to wait to bring this back in. I know it says it's for level 0, but I promise you could bring this back in at a later date when the kids are older and use it then. So that's what we're going to do. But that's it, guys. That's all the changes that we are making for term 2, what we're bringing in new, what sadly we are dropping. It's all out of necessity of simplifying our lives, but also really trying to capitalize on and bring in more wonder and awe to my homeschool, because that is what has been lacking this first term of this year. Honestly, this has probably been my most stressful school year to date, and this is our 3rd year of homeschooling. And I don't know, I want to change it. I don't want to just keep pushing through and saying it'll get better, or well, we've already committed to this, so we're just going to do it. I don't want to do that. So we're going to make these changes in term 2, see how they settle. If they go well, we'll continue those for term 3, and then we'll probably really think hard about what we want to do starting next year when my girls are in 2nd and 4th grade with our homeschool in order to achieve the type of homeschool that we want. If you guys have any questions about anything I talked about in this video, leave it down in the comments. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you stick around. And also you got to wait and see how all the changes went, right? And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.